All right, time for weekly outlook. Okie dokes. It's a pretty exciting week ahead of us, I think, at least where we're trading on the chart and sort of what the setup we have going into the week. Um, inside week, uh, right? If we obviously don't include this roll gap, 5 day balance, although technically might be a little more, right? If we take a look at the not rolled over one. You ended the one term down here. Continue to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 day balance, technically speaking. But I'll treat this week as essentially a 5 day balance roll, at least, going into Monday as a 5 day balance, right? I think it makes sense with the roll gap and such. At least with the rollover that I did going into last Monday. But now that that other contract is no longer there, right? 5 day balance on both. That is what I'll work with inside week. Pretty similar idea on both, right? Like if we get a break of either side, can we keep it going, or does it fail, fade, and go the opposite direction, right? Very aggressively. So that'll be like the main focus. Let me bring up my pen tool, and what I mean by that, just very quickly, is if we're working with an inside week, you obviously just want to play the direction of the break, right? So you have your inside week here. Break to the upside, you just want to get long here and take it to whatever targets we have up above us, um, or below us, okay? And we can use other little pieces of context to sort of like guide us in terms of like which levels we should be targeting. Um, and we really only want to fade it if, let's say, you get the break and this break fails and you start to get offers, right, on pullbacks into it, or whether or we just break down, right? This move will be quick and pretty easy, I would think, right? If you get a failure to one side and trade back into said range here, it's going to be aggressive to the other side, right? Same applies to the other side, right? If we break it down, although unlikely, we are gapping up and working towards the upper end, right? Breakdown, obviously you want to be short, but if that fails, get back long here or get back long here, and it becomes a very, very easy long. Um, with that said, right, have a couple levels around us that we can watch, a couple levels within last week's range that we can watch, um, and whatnot. So take a look at ES. It was a triple distribution. It was really one main one, another one down here, weak lows or poor lows, lacking some excess down here. Well, these highs are also lacking excess, but we'll see if, let's say you make that excess higher. Like, does that high hold, or does this shelf here hold? Okay, that'll be the key test for buyers. All right, if we get a breakout, or on a breakout, is it going to be strong enough? We're going to leave a set of singles here and then establish value higher. Uh, I sort of did these levels and did an outlook earlier today before we had gapped up. And also put out the possibility that we get a, look below and fail below these weak lows, potentially make that excess and get going. Most likely not going to happen or see that, right? Gapping up nice amount, and so on. So we may not even get a pullback down to sort of what I was looking to get long from, which was Friday spike and the shelf from last week. Right, you have your spike base here from Friday. But if we do get a backtest of this, like, this is what buyers need to hold. If you cannot hold this, I think it becomes pretty clear to me that you're gonna essentially take out these lows, and then it's a matter of, okay, what you do next, right? Does this low keep going? Well, I'm only really interested in getting long again if you take out lows once you trade back into the range. In that case, I think you actually, like, let's say a breakdown does continue, you're gonna take out these lows and go make some excess down there, I think. But we'll put that out in the daily outlook when the time comes. But for now, since we're gapping up, outlook will change a little bit. Well, at least the ideas are going to stay the same. Line in the sand here for buyers now. 57.20s, 57.10s. This gap holds, like, well, let's say we open up here. I'll probably look to just get long off of last week's value area high. You got somewhat of a shelf up here. You got like the lower end of this lower part, like within this gap, it's kind of tough to get involved. Yeah, it's just gonna have to be a long. If we start holding 55 up to like 57s, 58s, if I can get an opportunity there, I'm gonna get long on a pullback. Right now, I don't think there's anything to do up here for me, right? Unless we pull back down here. So we'll wait for that. Preferably just get the retest RTH and get long, and then we'll see if a break actually gets follow through. We'll pay attention for that and whatnot, and look for a lot higher, right? First big level being probably this shelf up here, right? We're using the 2025 profile on this one. This is the much longer term one, right? It looks pretty empty up until then. So NQ, similar situation, 5-day balance up here. Prior to the gap up, I sort of had the idea that this was going to be the big inflection point. And I think it still is. This is still going to be the line in the sand for buyers. Obviously, now that you've gapped up, the strongest response would be to, well, they've sort of shown us that you're holding this 060 mark, right? Sort of where that last week's largest shelf comes in. So buyers doing what they're supposed to be doing to see the most bullish outcome. You come test it again, come RTH, I don't think I'd be too interested. At that point, like, I'd rather just see them just get over these highs, last week's high, get over this point of control from, what is that, 2 weeks ago now? And just get bid here, right? Or last week's high. And try to get bid there for levels above us. Okay. If we're below 60, where we opened specifically as well, I'd just take this back down to here. Friday spike and last week's point of control, right? Sort of in this 25-point range, 30-point range. And so I wouldn't be fading it up here to get the move back here. Is it possible? Sure. I'd wait till at least you trade back into last week's range, right? Let's say you do get breakout, or let's say we open up higher, right? And if we do fail, sure, right? Maybe use that as a target, as a first initial target, maybe a little sweep of these lows. But ultimately, this is going to be the main downside target for now. Okay, and this is going to be the level that buyers need to defend. You're below that, and you're just going to go take out these poor lows. Pretty simple. Have some weak lows down here as well. So, big inflection point. Don't know if we're going to get a pullback down there this week. A lot of people, like, on Twitter and Discord have been, like, absurdly bearish going into this week. I don't know why. I don't know if I thought I was dreaming last week in terms of what we saw during Wednesday and what we heard, really. So, I mean, we'll still play level to level. Especially at our key levels, I'm gonna be sized in pretty heavy this week. I sort of like the potential to the upside that we have with all that we've done to the downside, and specifically what the Fed did last week, right? So, yeah, that's sort of where I'm at. Gold, crude, not really looking at anything huge. A couple equity plays I am eyeing. Can go over them briefly. With Square being one of the ones I like. Right, you have these last couple of pivot lows down here that we're working off of. You're trading back into, it seems like value should be established up here. Yeah, it should be. So I know we can include this now. Say this is what I'll work with in terms of my line in the sand. This will be like the first big level that buyers need to get over. These are like sort of the bigger picture ideas, but we'll go into the smaller time frame and sort of give ourselves a trigger or a couple more triggers. Right, so for me, it's either going to be a pullback down into that, or just a move off of this, right? And we'll see what we do Monday at the open, or Monday an hour or two in, see what we're doing up against these levels, and if it looks good, I'll get long. Need earnings back here. I don't know if it's that relevant. We'll use this as like a first upside target and a main one that we need to reclaim. So I like Square. I also like Crowd. Are those levels still there? Yes. So you got earnings VWAP here, pivot high VWAP there, but anchored VWAP off of the most recent low. So whether we can stay up above this level, we'll take a look at this after the first hour or so, see what those candles are doing up against this. If they're above it, looks good, I'll get long there. Otherwise, I'll just wait for a pullback down into this level, right? The upper end of this box here. Right? Specifically like 348 up to 350 to get long. I like that setup there. And we also have Nike, one I really like. We finally came down into this box. I missed it. But we haven't really gone too far away from it, so I still like it. Right? I'm sort of waiting for this level. I know I got long last summer down here at the bottom of this box. I did okay. Now we're finally getting that opportunity to get long from down here. So I like it. I'll probably just not much to work on or not much to work with. It's probably just try to ensure that we're getting daily closes above the anchored VWAP from earnings on Thursday. So I think this one's just a long and hold for a while. I think you're getting a decent valuation for this one. And yeah, this is my couple plays. And that is about it. How's Bitcoin doing this weekend? I haven't taken a look. Back up to Friday's highs. Looks like we're close to. Or what was that? How do their dailies work? Bitcoin didn't really move, huh? Okay. Well, pretty decent. Oh, I don't want to say easy, but pretty clear to me as to what levels each side needs to defend. I'm more biased to the upside, though. I actually was in swing longs. Well, I wasn't in swing longs. I was positioning swing long here. We didn't pull back quite far enough for me to get filled on more. I left some limits at 950, so I got filled end of day for about 120 points. On the two that I had, I was gonna fill up to like 6 or 10. It didn't quite come down low enough to get my fills down in the 780s, 800s. Only filled like 820s, right? Then we took off into 950 end of day. So, yeah, missing this rally, but I'm sure there'll be plenty more opportunities remainder of the week. So have a great week, y'all.